Hey everyone. So yeah, we went to Cambodia about months ago, and it was an amazing trip. So I also have a slideshow to show.
It's in my message PowerPoint.
So first off, I just want to thank the team that I went with. They were such a blessing to me. I was the only one to get sick and get bit by a dog, and they really took care of me. So special shout out to them. So this is Sina, and this is like a image that we saw all the time whenever we'd go to a new village. Everyone there was just so happy to see her, so happy to see Soot. They bring such a joy and blessing to all the people who are there. And it's not like close by villages or anything either. This is one that's on the lake, and it was like a 2.5 hour boat ride. But every time they go, they bring supplies for the kids, glasses for people to read the Bible, prayer books, and worship with them, and song books and things like that. Also, we'd go with her to the market. Pastor Jonathan talked about how all the people were impressed with her servants, but I was more impressed with just every time she would go, she has this relationship with all the vendors that she knows, and she's always talking to them and worshiping them with them, or trying to just pray for them and forge a relationship and share the gospel with them. And it kind of reminds me that, in our day-to-day life, we do a lot of things that are similar, but maybe we just don't have the same intentions as these missionaries. And what I like to talk about is just the hard work that missionaries have to do on a daily basis that we don't really get to know or see. I feel like when we have missionaries come to share with us, it always seems like it's the most miraculous of stories, or the ones that really can touch us as a congregation, that we're so far away, but we get to see hear these stories. But there's a lot of hard work that goes along with it too, on a day-to-day basis. Just being a leader to the new people at churches. This is a house church all the way in Sarai Gandal, which is like a 2-hour dirt road ride, and they would make it every Sunday to try to just worship with them. And you get people from kilometers around just to walk and to join them, and because they just want to hear a message from a leader like Soot. And he's so gracious, and he's so humble, and he's always willing to minister with them. This family is an amazing story. I'll touch on it a little bit later, but they just visit people's houses, and every time they just want to keep talking, get to know them, how they're doing, and who knows what kind of miracles will happen when you keep doing that. But we were just lucky enough to be able to witness something like this. This guy ends up becoming a Christian right when we were there, so it was pretty awesome. This was in Poipet, which is over 3 hours away. We had to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning to make it to this leadership conference. And Soot is the one leading all of these young church leaders. There's people who are high school age all the way up to veterans of the Khmer Rouge, and they all are there just to hear him kind of speak and to help each other, actually. And we're just lucky to be able to visit this again. This was also on our first trip. We were able to see just how awesome this church has become for that area. But that's also the reason why they're not there anymore, because they want to go to new places where people haven't heard the gospel before, build up new churches. And so this one's thriving, and so they just only have to show up maybe twice a month. But it's still a really long drive and a really huge burden to do that, but they're very much willing to do it. This was another image of the youth rally, and I had a lot of fun here, but it's something that they never did before. And so they just decided that they wanted to gather all the youth of the region and other regions even. I think Preah Vihear, that's a far drive away too. So all these kids had never met each other before, and this was the first time they were gathering. And at the end of it, Soot was like, "Oh, you guys want to do this again?" And they wanted to do it every week. But so there's a lot of excitement and a lot of growth among the Christians here, and it's just really heartening to see all of that. And it's a lot of work for them because there's not much help that they get. So this is everything that's been organized is organized through them. I mean, there's some really awesome people that God has put in their lives, but for the most part, all this work has to be done through that couple. This is a village that dirt roads, hour and a half ride away. It was muddy that day, so it was a really tough journey, but they make it all the time. And people have to make this journey by moped, by just walking, and it's amazing. This was a floating village, like I said, 2.5 hour boat ride out in the middle of the lake. But you can see they're just so happy to see us. They just greeted us so warmly. We never met them before, but they were just so gracious to accept us into their homes and offer the best food that they have. And also just manual labor and construction. They probably did just as much work as we did, and we were willing to shovel dirt and put bricks and things like that. And this was the very early stages of this church, and it's amazing. But wait a second. Oh, never mind. I thought I had a picture of that, what the church looks like now. I'll show it to you. It's pretty awesome. So another thing that really struck me is just being able to work with kids there. Well, actually, not work with them, but maybe just hang out with them, because I can't talk the language or anything like that, but kids there are so nice and they're so willing to just play with you. And this is just them coloring, and they're just so engaged and so happy to do it. All of these kids, their lives are pretty tough. They don't go to school. I don't think they have a lot of quality time at home with their parents or anything like that. They sang a worship song for us that they learned in half an hour. It was pretty awesome. And this is part of the Tool Prick Church, and so I'm excited that they're actually going to be able to worship in an actual church there. So all the kids there are very friendly, and it struck me that I've been teaching Sunday school here for 3 years, and they greeted me so much warmly than my students, and they wanted to talk to me. I try my best to just say a few phrases that I know, just help them color or just play with them. It's a lot of fun, but I feel like even though they enjoy my presence, I think that they would really like to hang out with people their own age. And I wonder if, as a church, there's a lot of young people here, about the idea of how young is it to go on your first missions trip like this? Because I teach 4th and 5th graders, and a lot of these kids are their age. And I was wondering, I think they would have such a fun time if my 4th and 5th graders went on this trip, hung out with them, just played with them. I think they would appreciate that a lot more, and it really opened their eyes to the world as well. I enjoy hanging out with kids, but I don't know, I think they might find me kind of boring. So, I think this is a great opportunity. I don't know the answer to this, but I really would like to have younger people go on trips like this. Yeah, so this is another image of just how fun and friendly everyone was. Man, they just approached me afterwards, and they were just saying things in Khmer, God bless you, and may the Spirit of God go with you. And they were hugging me, and I didn't want to leave. So they were so cool. And Jojo does a really good job with hanging out with the kids too. I think they really liked hanging with her. And okay, so this is the story that I wanted to get to before I finish. So this man had been suffering a lot. I think his wife had passed away recently, and the person at this house is his niece, and she had just recently come to the Lord because of Sooth and Sina as well. And so she was sharing with this guy and saying we have a solution to your problems. You just have to meet these people, talk to them. And he was just so willing to do it at the time that, I don't know if you can see it, but they're born with these spirit strings on their wrists and on their waist. And I think it's a relic from their Buddhist past, where it's supposed to protect them from evil spirits and things like that. So he was willing to cut it off in order to learn more about the gospel. And so Sud is there helping him cut off his spirit string, and Sina goes outside and burns it, and we were just all there to witness it. And for me, this is like the second time we were like with someone who cut off their spirit string and came to the Lord like that. And I think each time is just so miraculous, so like, I don't know, wonderful to see that maybe there's this work happening, there's this change happening in this country, and we just can see it one at a time with these people. But this is just maybe one of the thousands of house visits they make on a monthly basis, and it just so happened that one time we were with them that something like this could happen. And so he was able to turn away from his old past and start something new, and I'm really excited for him. And so likewise, I just want to conclude with just some prayer requests for them. Everyone there is so young and so new to the faith, and I feel very protective of them, because I feel like any kind of bad thing that might happen could just lead them away. But I'm not sure God will protect them, so I just want to continue to ask for prayer for that, because I'm really happy that I was able to go, and I'm really blessed that I was able to experience all this. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.